I know they'll fall back. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your sensei, your griot, here to tell you a story, and I am born to hunt for love's co-creation in all things. So one thing that we do is pray. Father, hear our prayer, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the Chi of Gaia, the Holy Spirit. Please hear our prayer, and every day and every way help us to take your peace and make it strong. Let us realize that our egocentric moron way is a dead end. That our bodies are simply an avatar for us to experience the sandbox that we live in. Hear our prayer. Let us, in every day and every way, take the spirit of your love, one love, and let us co-create that reflection of the burning bush, this work in progress that we are here to experience. And that is what this sandbox is. I love these guys. Who are they? The Advantage, Summertime, Ray, the Rural Advantage, Rural Alberta. Who knows? I love these guys. This is a danceable tune. Come on, everyone get up. Come on, dance. Come on, feel that energy come up through your body. Now. Tonight, yeah, baby. I love this drummer. This is so analog. That's what we are. That's why it instead of electronica, less. He's talking about love that he had 10 years ago, or this year, and then what it's going to be in 10 years ago today. Love that drum. The cello there. The backup voice. Yeah, I never want to see you again. No, I know the spirit, I've been in so many relationships. But in those relationships, what is Plato? He talks about, love, eros, right? And he also, platonic love, right? What is that? That's the strongest love. That's the love that does not involve your hormones. I don't know about you guys, but I've had many, I still do have hundreds of friends that I can call up on the phone. If they answer and we talk, it's just like I was there yesterday, even though 50 years have passed, right? And that kind of love, that kind of involvement, where you're not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the other person, how they feel. The reason why you're with them is that you want to make them happy. It's not that you want to control them, have them, you wear them as a coat or have them as an umbrella of your emotions. No, it's there because you're there to serve love's co-creation, right? So we're going to do a little, guided meditation. I'm going to do more and more of these because you can go back and watch them. I realize that the majority of you guys, right now it's, I don't know, what time is it? It's 11:52, almost lunchtime, and most of you guys are at work. You folks in Europe are like coming home from work. I used to do a show. When I would get my most, people watching, was late at night and on the weekends. And I don't know, I really am catch as catch can to get on the internet. Sometimes, when I have no money, and if you want to, hit that like, subscribe, ding that bell, and send me something in PayPal, right? And thank you for all those who have over the years and months. And that every time that comes in, it's like I don't expect it, but it does come in, and it's like right there, just that moment when I was out to lose that bank account, which my credit rating is so. When you get sick, right, and it's it disrupts your ability to make a living, right? And when you really get sick, like I am, not did, am, meaning basically when you live in the society we live in a poisoned society. And for 15 years I worked in the corporate world, and had like 30,000 calorie lunches and dinners with the desperate lawyers. And you look at any lawyer who's over 40, he's like 50 to 100 pounds overweight. Any lawyer over 60, he's like almost 200 pounds overweight. Every single one I saw. Right? The young lawyers, they're like hustling, so they're burning up that stuff, right? But, I listen to BBC, my shortwave, and public radio. So here, let us listen to these guys.
Incredibly precarious humanitarian situation on the ground, with 13.6 million people in Tigray, Amhara, and in the Afar regions at risk of food insecurity, the humanitarian situation. They haven't been able to deliver humanitarian assistance for the last 7 weeks. Of course, when you see bombardments, when you see a resumption of hostilities to the extent
what is this war in
now,
Ethiopia?
this exacerbates the impact on civilians. And obviously, this is of deep, deep concern to us from a human rights perspective, but also from a perspective of international humanitarian law.
Are you especially concerned about the involvement and actions of Eritrea? Ethiopia has always denied that Eritrea has been involved in this conflict, and yet it does appear that Eritrea is now the senior partner in conducting this war.
Have you even heard of this?
We are concerned about any party to the conflict that seeks a military solution toward a fundamental political problem. And as the Secretary General, probably heard him say this yesterday, he asked that there is an urgent resumption of talks between the different parties to the conflict so that there is an effective, lasting political settlement to it. That's the only way to find a solution to the much beleaguered civilians that are currently suffering.
What appears to be going on at the moment is more than just the resumption of conflict. We had an expert on our program yesterday who is talking about a genocidal plan with regards to Tigray. I wonder if you are also hearing such reports and what you make of that.
Well, we have small teams on the ground. We have very difficult communication abilities at the moment. We know that bombardments, especially in areas where you also have civilians living, are extremely dangerous. I warn that there could be a risk of war crimes indeed, because if it's indiscriminate attacks in residential areas, for instance, we know that this kills innocent people every day. It damages civilian infrastructure, and it limits access to services. That's what we can talk about at this stage, and we are obviously very concerned about that.
The only ongoing investigations into alleged human rights abuses under UN auspices is still continuing, but has been rejected by Ethiopia. In that context, what can you, as the High Commissioner for Human Rights, do?
So my office has been engaged with the Ethiopian government, and we conducted a joint investigation with the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, which was published in November last year. It has to be said, though, and I got the briefing from my colleagues, that we haven't really made much progress on the accountability issue. So we are very concerned about the pace of implementation of the recommendations that we put into that report, and also the quality of investigation. So we continue to advocate with the authorities that criminal proceedings need to be expedited, but also making sure that these proceedings are done in line with international and fair trial standards. So it's clear that there is still a lot of work to be done with the Ethiopian authorities in particular, but also with the other parties of the conflict.
You are new in the job. I wonder, though, if I can ask you to reflect on whether or not you regret that your predecessor, Michelle Bachelet, cooperated with Ethiopia's Human Rights Commission when she carried out her own investigation and indeed was criticized for having done so. Do you see that there are lessons?
Incidents that this is coming exactly 3 weeks to go until ballots have to be cast in these midterm elections, and abortion rights are playing a pretty prominent role all across the country.
That's NPR's Domenico Montanaro reporting. The Los Angeles City Council is preparing to select a new president today. Aaron Stone of member station KPCC reports former council president Nori Martinez was pressured to resign and give up her seat last week after audio recording surfaced of her making racist remarks.
Martinez resigned last week amid mounting public pressure. Among other racist comments, she called a fellow council member's young black son a little monkey while discussing redistricting with 3 other Latino officials. Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo, the 2 other council members involved in the racist conversation, have yet to give up their seats. Ron Herrera, an LA labor leader also in the recording, has since resigned his position. De Leon and Cedillo won't be at today's meeting to vote in a new council president. Remaining council members are also expected to consider motions to create an independent redistricting commission
we are
and
having
add
a
more
meltdown
council seats.
of our
For
body
NPR News,
politics.
I'm Aaron Stone.
Stocks on Wall Street opened higher this morning, extending Monday's big gains. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped
Elon Musk just made another $1 trillion.
Early trading.
Right.
U.S. industrial production got a bigger than expected boost last month.
We're
talking about childhood poverty with Bryce Covert, an independent journalist who writes about the economy. Also with us, Christopher Weimer, the director of Columbia University's Center on Poverty and Social Policy. In a moment, we'll hear from a parent about how much the child tax credit helped her family. This is 1-8 from WAA.
Register. So where are you? What are you doing? Huh? There's nobody commenting. So come on. We are 14 minutes and 14 seconds into the show. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and don't believe a word I say. This show is just for your entertainment, right? You know, if you get a hard on about anything, it's not my problem. Right? Come on, get up and dance. Move that yellow body. Uh-oh.
Right, so Democrats don't pick up more seats in Congress. Well, the White House says this is part of the ongoing effort by the president and the administration to try and call attention to, quote, an assault on access to women's health care by Republican officials. And he'll likely talk about federal and state attempts at restricting abortion rights. You know, Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have been out there talking about this issue plenty over the last several months, but it's no coincidence that this is coming exactly 3 weeks to go until ballots have to be cast in these midterm elections, and abortion rights are playing a pretty prominent role all across the country.
NPR's Domenico Montanaro reporting. Many Republican voters, meanwhile, are energized by the U.S. Supreme Court's decision earlier this year to strike down Roe versus Wade, the 1973 ruling that legalized abortion nationwide. Russian airstrikes have been targeting water and power facilities in parts of Ukraine for a second straight day. NPR's Nathan Broad is in Kyiv reporting these latest attacks have killed at least 2 people in the capital.
Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko says the strikes were aimed at electrical facilities and are part of a wider campaign by Russia, he says, to freeze Ukrainians during the coming winter.
No kidding.
Similar strikes targeted energy infrastructure sites in other major regions and cities across the country. Zhytomyr in northwest Ukraine was without water and power after a strike there.
Wait till cholera breaks out.
Have suffered blackouts, and Ukrainian officials are urging people in many parts of the country to conserve electricity and to stock up on water.
It's going to spread across Russia.
In the United States, auto production bounced back last month after falling the month before. NPR's Scott Horsley reports manufacturing overall had a good month in September.
U.S. industrial production got a bigger than expected boost
wow,
last
I'm so happy.
with
My stocks are
manufacturing
going up.
rising by 0.4%. Utility output was down, likely thanks to mild temperatures in September, but oil and natural gas production were up.
Oh, yeah.
Gasoline prices have eased a bit nationwide, with the national average dropping to $3.87 a gallon. In California, which has the nation's most expensive gasoline,
is making the money, right? Did you know that culture, art
healthcare giant
makes more of a GDP, gross national product, than oil does, because oil is so subsidized with your tax money that it really doesn't do anything. Yet it has a tremendous investment in the military-industrial complex.
Woo! 2 hardline French unions have called a nationwide strike today, demanding higher salaries for public servants. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley reports the strike is an extension of the weeks-long industrial action of refinery workers
till this
blocking
goes
France's
across
major
all
oil
of
refineries and depots.
Western Europe.
Unions reject Total Energy's proposed 7% wage increase as unacceptable given the oil industry's massive profits. The CGT and Sudaria unions have called on their brethren in the rail and other sectors to join
People in
them.
America, we're
The
too
Virgin public
stupid to
sector
do
workers
this.
will be energized by the government's decision to force some oil workers back on the job.
Yeah, I never liked that word, stupid, but that really does describe the American public.
Fuel shortage and long lines of motorists at gas stations
all those MAGAs, all those guys who Joe Biden is doing a great job. You know, everyone on either side of the fence, it's like, forget about it.
Eleanor
You know?
Beardsley, NPR News,
I come from the
Worries are growing over the welfare
George
of a female
Carlin.
Iranian climber who did not wear a hijab.
She didn't wear a hijab.
In South Korea. The head covering is compulsory
She's gonna
in
end up
Iran
dead.
and has been the main driver behind weeks of anti-government demonstrations against the Islamic Republic. Today, Elnaz Rakabi reportedly left South Korea for her home Iran. Human rights activists say
big
they're
bully
worried
guys
she may be
holding her on
arrested.
either side of her
The
arm,
latest
and
wave
she
of
seemed to
protests in
be
Iran began after
unresponsive.
a young woman died. She was arrested by Iran's so-called morality police for allegedly wearing her hijab improperly. I'm
you know,
Mark
kind of like
Singh,
this.
NPR News.
I'm
in
wearing my
Washington.
hijab improperly.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations.
Born to Hunt.
Other contributors include Fidelity.
Woo,
With Fidelity Income.
Woo, woo. So, what do you think? Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and here we are, 19 minutes and 19 seconds into Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Albob. I am your sensei, here to tell you a story, right? And don't believe a word I say. I know you guys go watch this like wallpaper later on, and tell your friends, get more people to subscribe. Come on, this is a energetic show. You know, this is you know, a point of view that you're not going to hear from anybody else. You know, not from Scotty Boy, not from MSNBC or or what's his name on Fox Hunt News, and all the Fox Hunt guys wear this, right? All the Tucker, what's his name, wears this all the time. It's actually tattooed on the back of his head, right? Woo!
Forward to returning for real soon. Here's the interview I recorded last Thursday. When you're a teenager trying to figure out your own identity and how you want to signal to others who you are, one way to define yourself is by the music you listen to, or films, TV shows, video games
that you watch,
videos that you love. Sometimes the more esoteric, the better, because it shows off.
Now, guys, I can't be any more esoteric than anything on the universe of the World Wide Web.
Remained passionate about pop culture. He's a culture critic at The New Yorker, where he's been a staff writer since 2017. His new memoir reflects on his teenage and college years and his complicated search for identity. As the son of immigrants from Taiwan, he writes, "We could never write in a way that assumed anyone knew where we were coming from. There was nothing interesting about our context, neither black nor white, just boring to everyone on the outside. Where do you even begin explaining yourself?" His close friend Ken was Japanese American and came from a more assimilated family who had been here for generations.
Like the Borg.
Washu's identity and his understanding of his past, present, and future came to a turning point after Ken, his close friend, was carjacked and shot to death. It was the first time a close friend had died, and the only time anyone Shu knew.
How many people do you know that have died in a violent manner? And I would include AIDS as a violent manner.
This memoir is the result of how, over the years, he continued to write and reflect on the meaning of that friendship.
This is Terry Gross of Fresh Air. She's great. She's one of the best things on public radio.
Stay True. Washu, welcome to Fresh Air. I love your memoir, and I'm so glad we have this chance to talk.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a real delight to be here.
You're so obsessed with music and have been since you were a teenager.
Yeah.
Your father loved music, classical music, when he was living in Taiwan. In the U.S., he discovered Dylan, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Aretha, Gun.
Something happened to the USB.
So obsessed with music for so many.
Huh. Well, such is life. If my little USB doesn't work, that's disappointing, because that had lots of great tunes on it. And but it's just another thing, right? It's not a big deal. Right? It's like me. I died in 2014. I went up into the Life Review, and it was a big party. Hats for everybody, chocolate cake, big signs and balloons. Welcome home. You did a great job, right? They're all my masters were standing on the side and smiling with a beatific look and the photonic light illuminating them. And they, spoke soul speak into my consciousness and said, "You did a great job. You're doing great." I said, "Doing? Aren't I home?" But you still got about 11% to finish up. You've done 89%, better than anybody we've seen in a long, long time. And that gives you the opportunity to step up, move forward, not to have to go back on the roulette wheel of karma, right? Now people go, "Oh, is that reincarnation? Oh, that's a sin." No. What is sin? Tell me what sin is. Anybody there want to tell me what sin is? How about let's having some comments, right? Let's have some likes. Let's have some thumbs up, right? Tell me what sin is. Come on. And you folk out there. Here it is, right here. This is my copy, which I keep keep by my side at all times, right? And you know what it is containing the Old and New Testament, King James, translated out of the original tongues. And with the former translations diligently compared with the Revised Bible. God, this is the Word of God, right? Does God's Word need to be revised, you know? And the New Testament, what happened to the Old Testament, right? Words of Christ in red. Meaning he's a communist. And, you know, where is that section where, you know, here's Timothy. You know, it's interesting. Paul doesn't really appear. It's everyone's talking about Paul, and Paul talks about Jesus. So that's the worst game of telephone. You know, I look into the table of contents, right? And I look for Paul. There's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, Timothy, 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, Titus, Philippians, Hebrews, James, Peter, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, John gets around, Jude, and Revelations. God's answers to man's concerns, moans, ways, and measures, harmony of the gospel, concordance. Let's see. The wickedness of Judah, Aisha. I had a girlfriend named Aisha. The vision of Isa, the son of the first Amoz, A-M-O-Z. See, you know, after that nun crushed my larynx, I can't really pronounce everything, right? And I like it that way because it leaves it up to your imagination, right? Which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uz and Joe. Then Oz, king of Judah. That's kind of Klingon, you know. Little did you know that Klingon was part of the Old Testament. Part of, you know, Aisha was a Klingon. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. Uh-oh. And is that the children's fault? Or is it a case of just bad parenting? You know, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein called one of the first modern novels, you know, along with Moby Dick, right? And also, you know, our friendly first, you know, infamous artist in the public's eye, Mark Twain, right? Those are the three most notable modern authors of the 18th, 19th century, early 20th century. And so Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is not a horror or monster movie or science fiction even. It is a sociological definition and exploration of bad parenting. Here you have, you know, Dr. Frankenstein, who brings forth life without a care. He just wants to show how big his penis is, right? And so he brings to animation and then kicks it out of the house. Doesn't even feed it or teach it or, you know, give it any lessons. Pretty much as I see across the board of all parenting, especially in the United States. Because all people do is tell the kid to shut up, you know, Get out of my way. Who are you? You don't belong here. Here's a cheeseburger. Eat some French fries. Drink a Coke. Oh, you want something? Well, here's a pair of sneakers. Right? See, I love you. Here's a pair of sneakers. Whack! Right. What was that for? Do what I say, not what I do. I see it with the more. Their children are more like a tax write-off / a jewelry accessory, right? And my dad used to buy my mom lots of jewelry because he couldn't express his love. He was either pounding her, like boom, boom, like the first, when I was 7 and I moved back to the house, I was upstairs. Well, first I slept on the couch. I'm always sleeping on the couch, right? And so I was just a few doorways away from my mom and dad's room. And that house was, there was a big, my brothers were upstairs, downstairs. In the living room, or really in the sunroom, pretty much outside of the house. They didn't want me inside the house. I was like outside the house. But my Uncle Steve put a big radiator in there, so it was like being in the Caribbean. Actually, at first it was a little cold. I mean, ice would be forming on my crib. And my crib, my parents put me in a dresser drawer that was lined with lead paint. But I vividly remember my father, my dad would be having intercourse with my mother, so intense because he was an athlete. He was driving her, pounding her into the bed, and the headboard was like smashing against the wall. And my older sister's bed was just on the other side of that wall. And she grew up, boom, 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 ah, 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 boom, 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 ah, 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 boom, 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 which is an excellent metaphor for what the meat puppet lives to do. Boom, 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 ah, ah, ah. So, and then you can extrapolate that through how we treat each other. Boom, 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 ah, ah. And one of my main themes is that the real issue that we have here is the difference between conditional love and unconditional love. Unconditional love is the love that our Creator has for us, and when our Creator created us, spirit, because our spirit is in a twin flame with the burning bush, and we are the reflection of that spirit that is I am. And in the Greek translation of the Hebrew Old Testament, where Moses meets up with the burning bush up on that hill with the Moses, smart guy. He was running Egypt. Right? He was upper middle management, right? And I mean, everyone knew he was Jewish, just the way his nose was and how he looked, and how, and his mother was right there. She was like in the upper middle management of the royal family, and was tight with the pharaoh's sister, who was allegedly his mother. But he didn't look like anybody but that aide de camp to the pharaoh's sister, right? So we have Moses, who's a pretty smart guy, educated than anybody else, right? Better than the Pharaoh's son. Pharaoh loved Moses more than his son because Pharaoh, I mean, gave Moses all the responsibility, took care of business, made sure that everybody paid their taxes, that the politics really like being a soldier and killing people, right? Boom, boom, boom. Ah, ah, ah. And that is the conditional love. The boom, boom, boom. Ah, ah, ah. I will love you if you do what I tell you to do. Otherwise, you're going to get whacked. Do what I say, not what I do. And that's where we are right now. all across the board. I mean, you name it, it's just surreal, right? But if you're a historian, a student of history, his story, don't call it her story, even though it's like Mother Earth who gives us life, right? That's the chi of existence that connects. You had to have the yin and the yang, You got Father Sky, the energetic, the photonic light that animates us all. Otherwise, we're just a bag of water with a few trays. You are not your body. Your body. This little thing right here. This is a very limited warranty. You get somewhere between 60 and almost 100 years, and that thing is going down. China right now, it's like China's going to be no. In 5 years, China is going to be forget about it, right? Because in 5 years, 8% of their youth or of the population will be people under 20, right? And pretty much 22% of their population is going to be people under 40, right? But that's 22%. That means 78%. No, yeah, 78% is going to be over 60. Old, 40 and older. And more than half the population of China is going to be over 60. Why do you think they let the COVID go wild and whack all the old people? They just want to get them out of the way, right? And they cannot, China's looking at what happened. There's Russia, second biggest military force on the planet next to the United States, and had a lot of experience having wars. They were in Afghanistan, Chechnya, you name it, they did it, and they basically sopped up the Nazis, right? The most pro-eminent military force of the 20th century. 1/100th of the world's population nearly brought the world to its knees. And how did they do that? Because they had superior technology. And where did they get that technology? There were these girls with really long hair called the Thule Society, and they were, like Edgar Casey. They were in conscious connection with other entities, right? And way more. I mean, they called Casey the sleeping prophet. These girls were awake and could, consciously ask questions. And let's see, and they, um, they built the first working modern, you know, anti-gravitational electromagnetic device that flew. Right? And it's called the Hanabu, right? Or the Bell. The research model was called the Bell, right? And they made it up there in Hungary, and that was their DARPA. They had a part of the SS that was all the good old Stan Marvel's stories of Captain America are straight up what was going on and what is going on. Hail Hydra, Go watch those 3 movies. You'll get a real. I mean, that was he was saying, "Hey kids, this is what's going on. Take a look." And that's and he was a much better promoter of information than I am. Me, I'm like a comedian slash performance artist slash griot, right? Tell you a story. And I am, coming from a shamanic worldview, right? So I do these things as a ceremony. I mean, these are energetically, I am the pebble in the world. And so, hey, I like you, one person. Why don't you give me a thumbs up? Come on, give me a thumbs up. Come on. And if you want to, send me something to PayPal. That's the end of the month. I got another, tomorrow's the 19th. That means I have another at least 20 days in the month. And I have that's why I'm not really going anywhere, right? Except, a mile and a half from my place. And, going up on my neighbor's driveway. And this is the only place close by. My other neighbor, the Floridian, who's like, he is another poster boy of the canary in the coal mine. He is like unfriggin' real because everything is the Benjamin, everything is getting over, everything. He doesn't quite steal things, but he's thinking about it, right? And he's got 3 kids. When you have a kid, your life is not your own. Your life should be all about your children. And, his children are a fashion accessory, right? And so is his wife. He's got a really great wife, but she spends most of the time away. She's a person who has a job that and like me, I was the itinerant scholar. I was all over the place for 20 years. So she goes away and does her gig and she's the breadwinner. He doesn't make a penny. He's with the eyes of the materialist world, he's a useless slug, right? He's doing all this stuff. He's destroyed like 6 cars in less than a year. I mean, he drives up this Forest Service road at 40. It's a Forest Service road. It's not a super highway. So he has broken the crankshaft of one car. He has broken the front end of another car. He has had to replace his struts on 3 other cars. It's just amazing. He's going through automobiles like water, right? And he trades. Hey, I'll trade you this big car for that little car. And the big car is like needs $6,000 repaired from what he's done. And he's had 4 major accidents, right? And he destroyed the Forest Service road, right? Or the not so much the Forest Service road because that's big and it's the Forest Service road, but the other little road, the access road, he destroyed because he gypped somebody out of a boat and he couldn't get it in and out of here unless he backed it down the hill and then up this big hill, which destroyed one of his engines of his cars. It just exploded, right? Wasn't designed to work that hard. And he kept driving the big heavy trailer into the edge of the road. He destroyed, 2 feet wide and 2 feet deep of the road. So instead of the road being now my wheelbase is only almost a little less than 5 feet. 4 feet 10 inches in my wheelbase. All his cars are like 6 foot to 8, and his trailers are 8-foot wheelbase, right? So he couldn't get in and out. So this is a road that most people, the other folk who live above where he destroyed it, were like, he's destroying everything. And my attitude was, anyway, I'm not going to fight this guy because he's like, the first thing he said, if you do anything to annoy me, I'm going to kill you. Pretty much. He put up signs saying, do you believe in life after death? Annoy me. And he's got guns all over the sign. Annoy me and you'll find out. I mean, that's a straight up threat. It's like, in our forests that we live in the national forest and it's covered in blackberries. And I don't know if you guys know blackberries, but they got big, sharp things. And the forest is full of it. He cleared all the way, not even his property, other people's property, but he put a fence there and put a big gate, not even on his property. And, but there's nobody here. There is no homeowners, anything or anything. So he just blithely does what he does. And, so did I. I mean, when I was the only guy here, yeah, no one complained. No one said anything. There were no laws saying this, that, or the other thing. Now, the stuff he does is, someone could sue him, could get upset. Stuff I did, nothing. And he has people come visiting him, like 8 to 20 people every frigging day and night. There's traffic going in and out of that place. And so what's that, And he doesn't have a job. And he's always buying motorcycles and cars and boats and wants to buy my hippie days. And, he just, I said, well, just give me, I have no money. Why don't you just give me $50 earnest money, right? And then it's, you can take that away and fine. But he won't even do. I mean, he's trying to think that I'll be desperate and just let it go, but no. So, because there are other people who want it, when they have the cash, bingo, it's gone, right? So whoever comes up with that, because I have no cash, but I live comfortably. And hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob, here to tell you a story, a morning monologue of stream of consciousness. And it's 45 minutes and 45 seconds of the show. So come on, there's one guy watching, even if it's AI, come on, give me a thumbs up. There's got to be some level of enjoyment of this. You can't get this anywhere other than here. I suggest that folks who like this show, I have more than probably 2,000 shows, right? At least 1,500, right? When I sit there and count them all, it's close to 2,000. When I look at what it says I have, it says it's about 1,600, right? So, and it says I only have 587 subscribers. So come on, join up, be part of the club, But none of that makes any difference. I mean, it's very pleasurable when you guys watch, and it's nice when you give me a thumbs up. And it does, when I do a show that somehow hits, a chord, and I have no idea what it is, but it seems to here, there, and everywhere hit a chord. My question is, huh? So it's 46:46. So interesting how time can speed up and slow down. I've been talking about the big flat, for now many years, when we were just heading into in 2019. I was talking about the big flat, right? Before anything happened with the pandemic or anything else, the economics of this, we were just experiencing Donnie Chump, right? Donnie Chump was amazing because he lied so much that he told the truth. He was fake news. I mean, he would not have gotten elected unless the people had their hair on fire. The people at MSNBC and CNN and all those guys, they gave him $1 billion of free advertisement, right? And all during his presidency, he got free advertisement. If people who really didn't like Donnie Trump just didn't say anything, like my childish neighbor, Infantile Boy. I think that's my new name for Infantile Boy. And he looks like Baby Huey. He really is. I mean, he is so fat that, I walk up the 2 hills. I'm down in the holler, and I walk up the hills with my rake because I just kind of rake the road because we live in a rainforest. And like, I guess it was Sunday night, we had, a big, what we call here in the country, we call it a gully wash, right? And I had my little rain. It was supposed to rain Sunday afternoon, and it didn't. I kind of emptied that. Went to church. I went to that. Saw the people at the 3 churches. The Southern Baptist Ku Klux Klan Church, the I Own Everything WASP Protestant Church, and the pagan Christian Church. Not Christian, Roman Catholic Church, right? And I just go to their Bible studies. They all have Bible studies, and one starts around 9:30. I get there. It goes from 9:30 to 10:30, and I kind of get there somewhere around 10 or so, and I wait till, and everyone just reads the Bible and doesn't really have any interpretation. They just read the Bible, right? And most of them are awkward readers, and that's how I punctuate things. And basically, I wait till each of those guys says, anyone got questions? Nobody, everyone just wants to get out of there. That's when and I don't even have a question. I kind of make a questionable statement about what was, being read and what does it really mean. And pretty much how the Southern Baptist Ku Klux Klan, well, how they all, not the Catholic Church so much, but the WASP Church and the KKK Church view everyone as sinners, and that it's a transactional, how much money you put on the plate, and how well you read the Bible, and how you look, right, is all that matters. Yeah. And everyone, there's a lot of people that they can point their finger at and say they're sinners. Anybody who's a woman and the women really are the stronger elements of all these churches. They really run it, but they let the men talk, right? Because it's, they're smart. They're not going to say anything unless they have to, and they don't have to. They just have their position of power, and it's what do they call it? They're not going to be blamed, right? So that was Sunday, and before I left, I emptied my rain gauge and went off and did that, and saw some other people, and I came back by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and the clouds were getting darker and darker, but it still didn't rain. Didn't rain during the evening. Didn't start raining at about 9, 10 o'clock, and then it rained, and then around 2 in the morning, I woke up because it was raining so hard. It woke me up. I'm in a tin box, so it was like being in a drum. And I was, that's pretty interesting. And I basically next morning, so I kind of went back to sleep. I don't have to get up. I mean, once in a while, I have to go to a doctor at a certain time or do something at a certain time, but not really, So anyway, I woke up, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. BBC was on. I listened to a bit of that. It was still raining. It stopped raining around 10:30ish, right? And I got dressed and I went up to where my nice toilet is instead of the bucket. And because in the metal box, I have a bucket, right? But up at the at my lodge, which my lodge is a garage that is 16 feet by 16 feet with a 800 square foot deck, right? And it has 2 floors, but not. It's a garage. It's got a garage door on it, right? And so, but back in the days when my legs really worked, I insulated it well and sheetrocked it. So, like this morning, it was 29 degrees outside when I woke up, and it was kind of early-ish. It was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and it was 29 degrees outside, and it was 48 degrees in the iron box. And I have about that much insulation, styrofoam insulation in the iron box, but it's a good 20 degrees warmer, right? And it kind of is that. And I have a little electric heater, but I have no money to pay for the electric, so I have to really use it sparingly. And I have 2 electric blankets. So if I'm sitting in my writing chair there, wrap myself up in an electric blanket, turn it on. So that electric blanket, because I have the electric blanket around me, and then I have one of those Mylar blankets I put down on top of me, and then I have a comforter I throw on top. So I put it on, not full blast, but it has 10 little lights. I put it on the 3rd light. And with that aluminum Mylar blanket and the comforter on top of the electric blanket, and I have a silk sheet that covers me, then the electric blanket, then the Mylar blanket, then the comforters. Baby, I am toasty, right? But if I get up, it's 40 degrees, and so you go from, 86 to 40 degrees, it's, the sweat on your body starts to freeze. But anyway, or you smoke. That's the most important. I think my body is just a smoking. Again, how about some thumbs up? If you like this show, give it a thumbs up. Make a comment. Love to hear from you guys. Let's see. Somebody said, Jamie, there you are. Your mic is in and out again. Lose connection. No, it's my hand goes, there are these two little dots, right? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Fish, I'm going to put this over here. I'm just going to do that. Can you hear me now? You know, see, I'm in the woods, right? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Jamie? Jamie, can you hear me now? Jamie, can you hear me? Jamie, what you doing? Jamie, remember that song? Who did that song, James? Do 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 do. Bop 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 bop. Let's see if reading USB. Oh, there we go. Well, that's a good sign. Let's stay together. I'm so in love with you. Ooh, ooh. Everything what to do it's all by me. By me. Now here's another good song. Al Green was the best. And then this one is my favorite. I love that drum. I love drums. I wish John's a great drummer. I wish he would play the drum instead of smashing it, going nuts on it, right? And if he went nuts on it and it made him feel better, then it would be okay. But otherwise, you're here. You're fine. Now, brother. Al Green. I don't know why she love my like I do. For all the buddies that she pushed me through. Take my money, my cigarettes. Haven't got haircut yet. I want to know. Tell me why. Hey, 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 the river. Gotta do down, follow it down. Ba-do ba-ba. The story. Ba-boo ba-ba. It's on the ground. Ba-boo ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba. I don't know why she treat me so bad. All the things we could hide. All the things might keep me bad. It's deep, lyric. I want to know. Tell me why. Take me to the river. Take me down. Follow it down. Me, feed me, love me, tease me. I can't. No. Oh, yeah. Again, night. The rural Alberta. Good night. Good night. Good night. Again, that drum. I love this drummer. This is Mr. Analog. He is in the beat. He's got a riff. He's got the tune. How about a thumbs up? La, la, la. I mean, the lyrics are great too. Wow. Here's a a good one. Hanging out, just relax. Yeah. The ox knoweth his owner, the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know. My people do not consider. Sinful nation, people laden with inequity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They are forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One. O Israel, unto anger. You are gone away backwards. Why should ye be stricken any more? For what you do, ye will revolt more and more against my love. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart is faint. That's what the burning bush was saying about the Hebrew nation. And that's what he was asking Moses to do, to go to Egypt and free them, not from the enslavement. Anything you can dance to when you're sitting down, this is good stuff. I can Jesus is dancing with me right now. God's unconditional love is dancing with me right now. I'm the drummer. That's Jesus playing the guitar right there. Now God's coming in on the drum. This is God coming in on the drum. Jesus on the guitar, God on the drum. Sitting on the stairs, up to heaven. Like you, I held you tight, oh Lord. Hold on, you love in the night. The black sky will come for hours and hours. Here it comes. Here's that drum. God's playing the drum. And Jesus is on the keyboard in the back. To the sky. John the Baptist singing the lyrics. I'll let you. Oh, I'll let you. Oh, I'll let you. And that's what having God in your heart and Jesus in your mind is all about. And again, the story of Moses going into Egypt wasn't to free the Hebrews from the Pharaoh, like the movie shows, Yul Brynner. No. It was about how the Hebrews had let go of their covenant with God. And Israel, and see, Israel is a consciousness. The Hebrew tribes are the folk, right? The children of God. And they still exist. But they're caught up in the delusion of materialism. I mean, they are still tainted by their experience in Egypt. And that's why they went to Palestine, right? The no man's land. And that's why they are, acting. They are not the Hebrew nation. They don't even call themselves a Hebrew nation, right? They call themselves the Jewish nation. And where did the term Jewish come from? The Anunnaki, who were the they were the children of the Nephilim, the Khazarian mob, right, along the Silk Route. They were like their version of ISIS. And don't believe a word I say. This is all for your entertainment's sake, right? I'm not dissing anybody because I myself am a Hebrew, right? I went to Lubavitcher school to be a rabbi, And when my rabbi said, "You need to study the esoteric elements of the Torah, right? The Kabbalah," and I did, for 4 years. I was in that school, but instead of wearing payos and I did wear the black coat and the hat because it was kind of cool, but I wasn't wearing the strings, right? And so I was there as a what we call when a guy comes from the foreign land and visits your school and you're a student, that kind of student. Oh, there's nobody there. Jamie left. Let's see. Have a good one, brother. Good night. Oh, he's going to sleep. He's on the other side of the world. Anyway, how long have we been doing? Oh, 1 hour and 7 minutes. And still not a single thumbs up, right? Oh, well, I guess that's it. Let's see. Let us try and do a guided meditation at 1 minute and 7 seconds. And when it gets to 1 minute, 1 hour, 8 minutes and 8 seconds, we will start. Okay, so get yourself ready, put yourself in a chair, relax, put yourself in a safe place, lie down, don't cross anything, don't cross your legs, don't cross your arms. Here we go. Now breathe in deep, breathe it all out, breathe in. Focus your conscious mind, that's the squirrel in your head, focus it on your breath. See it clearly. Right? And every day in every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. See it clearly. Every time a challenge comes to you, feel God's unconditional love in your heart for all those around, all our relations. That's everything. That's every warm, cold-blooded, skinned, feathered, scaled, furred brethren. And we have to see and understand our existence at least 9 generations from the past and 9 generations into the future. And so that is one reason why we're having trouble, because selfishly motivated. We're not even living in the moment. We are just taking what's now. We're taking it. We're not sharing it. We're not serving it. We're not being part of it. We're just taking, consuming. That's called unsustainable. And so we are very quickly, 10 years ago, oh, there's nothing wrong. global warming. What are you talking? That's a hoax. That's fake news. There's no proof. All those scientists who show us proof. Now all the fires everywhere, all the rains and floods everywhere, all the holocausts of starvation everywhere. We are seeing right in front of us, in real time. Not like, oh, we have to wait for years. The stuff that's going on in the poles, north and south poles. It'll take 100 years before. It's like, they're talking about when you have that much fresh water come in basically Ireland and England and all of Western Europe and especially Russia. Digging up bananas in the permafrost. In less than 40. What this lesson really is. Everyone in the material world, that's our God, the golden bull. So as long as we do that, we're going to have all that we see right in front of us because it's the product of that mass consumption. Mass consumption of is unsustainable. Yet we live on a planet of abundance. You look at Nigeria; it was a beautiful place. There's a movie just out called "Oh, the Golden Lions of '96." It's about the soccer team that won the Olympics in '96 and put uh, Nigeria on the map. But what was really going on the map was they had a democracy after the imperialists left. They had that, and just like the Weimar Republic in Germany, that was the most democratic country in Europe of the time. But it gave birth to the National Socialist Party, the fascists, and so in Nigeria that they had a putsch, an overthrow of the democratic government, and the army took over, and they had a general run it, and basically he was the henchman of the BP and Mobil and Exxon and um, you know um, Dutch Shell, who was really the major one, and the oil was easy to get at, top of the ground. It was like Jeb out there, where he shot at the coon, and the oil started to bubble up, and black gold, and that's what happened in Nigeria. And the military got rich, and the oil companies got rich, and the people. You go to Nigeria now, all the babies are disformed and have cancer and dying, and they still live in an extraordinarily violent place. And Haiti is another place that's a good example of the class economic unsustainable materialism and what's happening to them. And all the countries in Africa that have any kind of resources, Darfur, all of those places have, oil and gold and diamonds, and they have war and killing and death, right? All the countries that have nothing, they're kind of left alone. They're kind of doing okay, you know. I mean, they are, affected by all the violence around them because people run away from their countries into theirs, and they take care of them. And now where Africa is like burning up and can't, the weather has changed so drastically that they can't feed them. But what's happening is all of the crops that were growing in Europe were European crops because of the imperialism, right? And when the Europeans first did that, like 200 years ago, Africa was a rich plain, these fertile plains, and the Europeans just, plowed it up and put, European, and shit would grow, and they had rain, and they had big expanses, and so they brought in cash crops and grew them unsustainably over and over and over till it depleted everything, right? Turned that rich. It's like Australia had 20 feet of dark loam, right? Just you could grow anything on it, and it was grass, and the kangaroos and all those animals that ate grass were happy. And the Aborigines were happy there too, because they mostly were vegetarians until the Europeans came and just brought sheep there that ate the grass to the dirt. And then they have these, right now, Australia is having these terrible monsoons. Well, they always had monsoons. It's just that they have so destroyed that uh, country that, that topsoil that used to soak up all that water and grow great food. It could, it basically now is just clay. It's like one big, the whole outback is one big parking lot, like of concrete, right? Because that clay gets wet, then it's sunny for 6 months and gets baked. And it, when the water comes in, it just, it's like a swimming pool. I was walking with, why do I have that with me? I was working with one of these old elder Aborigines, and we're walking across this big, 40 miles to that mountain range, 20 miles to that mountain range. We were right in the middle, right? We just passed a dried stream bed with a kind of tree that, didn't know whether it was dead or alive, but there was a car up in it, 20 feet up in the air, and it said flood of 68, right? And this is, 77, 78. And we're walking on this beautiful sunny day. I got my umbrella, I got my pack, I got my thermos, I got my, all my anthropology stuff in my pack. And this old guy who's like, he was there before white people showed up. So he was like at least 120 years old. And he's feet, he never wore shoes. They're like, unbelievable. I mean, they're like flatter than flat. And so, we're walking along and he's telling me a story. And then all of a sudden he stops, he looks around and he goes, "See that hill over there?" I go, "Yes, that's the closest hill." But you think you can get up on top of that in the next 20 minutes? And I go, "What?" And he would show me all these things. Like he took me to Karabe, sacred sites, right? And I identified on my top map so the oil and coal companies wouldn't destroy them, right? To show Europeans that they're being respectful of the Aboriginals' um, sacred sites, even though the same oil and coal company in '68 came into that valley, and there were 900 Walamajiri living there, and they just walked out and shot them all in the head, right? And left them on the ground. Didn't bury them, didn't do anything. They just bang. It was they said, "Oh, the buzzards will eat them. The bones will get bleached. The water will take it away." Well, not until people noticed it and took pictures of it. Just 900 bodies all over the place, and it got to be a well advertised Holocaust of Australia, showing that the Australian people and their government and their businesses were still the same criminal minds that were there. They called Australia a criminal prison comment, right? And so English sent their criminals to tantamount to the United States sending all the criminals in the United States to Mars. Now they may have, but it's pretty expensive to in the 18th and 19th century to send your pickpocket to Australia. It'd be like thousands of dollars. Who they sent were the whack rich people, like the Queen of England, Elizabeth's queen, or it was Victoria, and one of those. Her cousin, who was the surgeon of the court, was Jack the Ripper. Now everybody knew that, but as long as he's going after poor prostitutes, not a problem. But once he started going after middle class merchants' wives, ooh, that was bad. So they couldn't grab him and hang him, chop his head off. That would have been it's a queen's freaking cousin. So they shipped him up to Australia. And so, all of those wacko people were there, and that's what they did to Australia. And so that's the same people were still there, but now in a corporate sense. And then you look at, the folks who came from Australia and came to America and made a lot of money in the media world. Those people were genetically from that cast of wacko rich people, right? So that's kind of what's going on, right? It's unsustainable, Now, I got you to breathe a little bit. How are you doing with that? You still breathing? Stay happy. I'm always happy. I'm happy doing. Why do I do this show? Nobody's watching. Why do I do this show? Because it makes me happy. Because I'm sharing this information. And it's not information, it's energy. I'm sharing this energy with you. If you go to, if you want to do a guided meditation with me, go to Sunday's show, right? It's 2 shows ago, or 3 shows ago, right? And that's I called up, I did a little bit of talking, and then Mr. Magic was on the phone, and I did a guided meditation with him, right? And so, and let's see. Let's give Mr. Magic a call. Let's see what he's doing. If he can talk. Oops. Here we go. Mr. Magic. Let's see if he answers the phone. It's ringing. Woo. What happened? We'll try him again. No, we lost the signal. Oh, what can I say? Oh, look at that. 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 36 seconds. So I am going to say goodbye. I think I put enough interesting stuff in there for the wallpaper folk. And I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll try and do one sooner rather than later. Okay.